Lo and behold, fellas, Bungie has given us Warden's Law as this week's GM Nightfall reward, which means, for better or for worse, we are going to be grinding the Europa Battleground grandmaster style. Now, let me just say, everything in this grandmaster is extra thick, lots of ads, lots of champions, but with the right loadouts, you can get sub 20-minute runs, and it's also double loot this week. Now, we've done a first impression video of Warden's Law, but don't worry, guys, we're going to do a deep dive on it here soon. With that being said, though, let's talk about how to traverse this grandmaster nightfall. Our fastest run was around 16.5 minutes, but I actually think we can get it down even more. Now, modifiers for this grandmaster include overcharged linears, unstoppable champions, and barrier champions, strand surge, and arc surge. Now, this opens up a ton of options, guys. For Titans, you still have Abby and lead with strand. It's still a solid option. I know Suspend was nerfed, but you can still go that route. I also try to rock a Heart of Inmost Light build with storm grenades, but let me just say, guys, it just felt really weak, which brings us to my Warlock build. And like I've mentioned in the past, I'm not a Warlock main, but Warlocks have some spicy stuff. And the most recent work, the Geomax stabilizers, is so good. We did an entire build video on this, but I've made some slight modifications to this build, but I'll leave a dim link in the description down below. But essentially, guys, I'm taking advantage of Geomax. The weapons I was utilizing today included my bait and switch Cataclysmic Linear. If you have a Storm Chaser, that's fine too, which would probably actually be better here, but I don't have a god roll of that. Now, the primary weapon I use, I swap between a number of them. One run, we did it with Trinity Gold. Another run, we did it with Symmetry. I finally settled on the Scout Rifle Tarnished Metal, simply because it has Demolitionist, and yes, you can get that enhanced. It also has Volt Shots. Now, special weapons I utilized today included Riptide, Arbalest, Succession, and I would just kind of mess around with all of these, but this is really just going to depend on you. I did like my Tarnished Metal build because I'm mainly utilizing my grenades. And I'm not talking about pulse grenades, guys. I'm talking about flashbang grenades. Flashbang grenades with Spark of Shock, Spark of Recharge, Spark of Ions, and Spark of Discharge gave me insane recharge rates, rivaling that of Fallen Sunstar, but I'm creating lots of Ionic Traces with my weapon. I'm putting down my Rifts, granting my teammates and myself Arc Souls, and with Electrostatic Mine, Ionic Traces that came back to me made me amplified, which supercharges my Arc Souls, and in the process, every one of these flashbang grenades were blinding all of these enemies. Guys, you wouldn't believe how clutch these grenades are and how powerful they are. On top of that, they have such a low cooldown. A lot of people overlook these nades, but please give them a go. They help so much in this Nightfall. Now, utilizing that with the grenade kickstart mod, a couple bomber mods and utility mods, I was pretty much finding a way at all times to create Ionic Traces. And again, every Ionic Trace gives you 2% of your super energy for Chaos Reach. This meant back-to-back supers. There were many moments in this Nightfall where I would pop a super, Les would pop his super, and Diesel would pop his, and we just fed orbs back and forth to each other. And Geomax substantially improves Chaos Reach. No, you're not breaking the bank in terms of DPS, but it does solid damage to single targets while also being able to clear an entire room. This was by far my favorite build for this week's Nightfall. Now, you've got other options out there. Cenotaph, Fallen Star for Warlocks, Vesper of Radius, Phoenix Protocol for well spam. Also, don't forget Aeon Gauntlets is always a big help. And for my Hunters, considering how the rooms consolidate enemies, Hunters, I want you to go back to your roots. Night Stalkers with Deadfall and Orpheus Rig is so good. It creates so many orbs. It locks down the room so well, and it pairs beautifully with Chaos Reach, allowing me to chain my super more and more. And Les and I were actually chaining supers back to back over and over. It was beautiful. Now on the weapons front, you could try a lot of different things, guys. I will say having one person dedicated to just clearing ads and bring in a machine gun instead of like something for DPS against the boss really helps. Les ended up using a machine gun, and this helped tremendously. And you've got things like Fang of Your Utes, Swarm, which I know was originally dropping this past week. I know on the legendary side, we don't have that many options that take advantage of the surges. We do have things like Circular Logic, though, for strand users. But guys, let me just say, having someone with the machine gun really helps. Now, let's get into the Nightfall. It opens up with this intro section here on Europa with Acolytes and Hive Knights in front of you, as well as these towers that target you. And this is why I said Night Stalker is so nice. When these towers target you, they give you a 15-second timer, and then they will kill you if you don't break line of sight. But if you happen to go invisible first and then push out into the open, you can literally bypass this whole first section. No, you don't need Omnioculus. You do get close to losing your invis, so you want to invis at this bottom rock right before you you push up the hill. And normally what I would like to do is actually throw a grenade, just my flashbang, to blind that Hive Knights. And then we push on through. Now, after you're past the intro section, head into the Bray Tech facility and down the stairs into the Bray Exoscience area. This is a pretty open area with not a lot of cover. But on the right side, if you get there before the ads start pouring out, this offers really good cover. Now keep in mind, if you can't get there in time, don't try to push over there. You will get sniped or gunned down before you ever make it over there. And then you're in this ridiculous situation of trying to res your teammates, and it's just gonna get them farmed over and over. Half the time though, guys, we literally just stayed right there in the entrance, as I would just sit there in the healing rift and just let Arc Souls do the work for me. Now there's gonna be 2 barrier Hive Knights at the very beginning and a lot of ads. Pick off the champions in those ads, throw those flashbang grenades, Warlocks, and let the blinding do its job. Now don't be afraid to use your heavy pretty much any time in this nightfall, as there is an ammo box here that you can top your ammo off with. So feel free to use your heavy here, guys. Now eventually you will be able to move up to that middle section of the room. Now more enemies will continue to be spawning in, which will include a barrier knight, a mini boss fallen captain enemy named Once Aztecross, retainer to Zivu Wrath. This boss isn't super tanky, especially if you're comboing things right, but literally, guys, dropping a tether here in front of these stairs, and then I would open up with the Chaos Reach, and then we would drop a well down. This just wrecked everything. Now what will get you in trouble is in the very back, you will have those fallen shanks that will snipe you, so keep in mind when moving in and out of that well. But the best thing to do in this room, guys, is just get it down on how you want to combo those supers. Consolidate the enemies together. If you're split up all over the place, you're gonna drag the enemies to different portions of this area. The goal is to keep catching those enemies as they come out of these doorways and these spawn points, and then push them all the way up almost to where the boss is. That way, every time you drop a tether or pop a chaos or any super, you've got them already consolidated. Now once this room is cleared, you can then head on up to the right, up the stairs, to continue following the path. There's gonna be some ads here, guys, that will be in both sets of these hallways. Eventually though, you'll reach the next room, and this room is a bit more close quarters. You're gonna find 3 barrier knights and an unstoppable ogre. Now we stayed on the balcony for this. Couple things to keep in mind here, guys. You can get killed behind this cover. Those solar grenades that's being thrown up, they can kill you behind that cover, so you're not completely safe. Secondly, if you pop a well here, do not expose the sword. Pop it behind this barrier. The enemies here do enough damage that they can actually break the sword of your Well of Radiance. Now the way we actually did this in the best run we did was we did enough damage to those 3 barrier champions. Those are our focus. And then I would pop my Chaos Reach and just melt 1 barrier champion to the next, while Les and Diesel were stunning them with their anti-barrier weapons. Granted, that's best case scenario, but again, the same chaining of supers. Once you get in sync with your teammates, you'll be able to do this flawlessly. Afterwards, you can deal with the unstoppable champion and then proceed to move up. Now the next area will actually have you moving downwards, but before you do that, in front of you, you'll be met with a barrier knight and some other Hive Knights, as well as 2 fallen snipers on the left. Deal with the Hive first, top off any heavy ammo if needed, if you're rocking things like Aeon Gauntlets or Cenotaph, then deal with those fallen on the left. Now there is a Hive ship that will be at the bottom right. You do not have to jump on that ship. That ship will move, and when it moves, you can find yourself in a very sticky situation. Instead, we like to go to the left. This allows us to just look down at these 2 unstoppable ogres who will shred you even from this far, which is why we're suggesting you deal with them while you're up high, so that even if one of you does get picked, you can just get the rest. Now, in this area, you can continue using heavy. There will be another ammo crate that you can top your ammo off once you've killed those ogres. Now moving on to the next area. Below this, you'll see 2 barrier champions, some servitors, a bunch of ads, as well as a Death Tongue core store. Now you need to kill that Death Tongue as quickly as you can, because he will activate Zivu's Wrath Battle Song. And when that activates, you're not allowed to use any of your abilities or your super. And then on top of that, the Shriekers open up and start doing damage. Do not hit anything else, guys. Completely prioritize the Death Tongue. I literally use my super just to take him out sometimes. And if you kill the Death Tongue fast enough, the Shriekers don't even open. They literally stay close. I know they're making a noise. It sounds scary walking underneath them, but they stay close. Then afterwards, guys, you want to deal with the barrier knights and then proceed to move down further. Now this area is pretty sketchy because there is a platform here on the right. Now when you're looking at it, there's no barrier knights. But the moment one person steps on this platform, that barrier knight spawns. And if you're not careful, guys, he will wipe your fire team very quickly, which is why you need to send your weakest player forward. It's all right. It's a sacrificial lamb that is necessary for this moment. But bait out that barrier knight, then move up to that platform platform, deal with all the ads down low, as well as the other champions. Now, the next room. This is actually probably the hardest room in the whole GM outside of the boss room. As you're approaching this doorway, 2 barrier knights will instantly spawn. Now, if you're not moving together past these lasers, they will spawn and literally cut you off from your teammates. Be moving together. And I would actually just go in, drop a healing rift down with some arc souls, and we just open fire. Now, beyond this, once you deal with those barrier knights, you will have a number of ads. I'm talking more barrier knights, more barrier servitors, 3 thick hive wizards. Everything has a ton of health. Take your time here, guys. Now, if you kill those big 3 hive wizards too fast, everything in this room will despawn, which is not a good thing, as this will mess up platinum. Now, I have not confirmed this yet, but I have been told that even killing the wizards before taking out at least the barrier servitor will still grant you platinum. Somebody let me know in the comments below if that is true. I'll be testing it first thing today, and we'll have a pinned comment down below. But I will say this, guys, pushing all the way up to deal with those wizards without also dealing with the ads and the champions is a very bold move. I highly advise, guys, methodically going through here and clearing out all of these ads and champions. And if you need to, just take out 1 wizard at a time. I was very much relying on Chaos Reach and Less's Tether to carry me through this. Well was really nice, but you could still get killed in your well. And again, guys, there's so much damage that's being put out that it can actually break your well. So be careful in this area, sitting in that well, thinking you're completely safe, and then next thing you know it, you're all going back to orbit. Now, after clearing this room, you're gonna jump up to this platform and then dive down. And into the pit we go. And this will lead us to the lock room. Now, there will be 1 ball relic directly above the door that you just entered. So you can actually just send someone straight up to grab that, and they can start breaking the first few locks. Now, you only need 2 balls in order to break all the locks. But what I do suggest, guys, before really getting carried away with going to get these balls, clear the ads out. At least the ones that are shooting the middle area. You've got some boomers, some acolytes. Just take some time to clear those ads. Have 1 person, though, after the ads have been cleared, sit tight and hold mid control. Just like in previous locked door situations, ads are going to be spawning in from behind. A number of hive, including a wizard and a knight, will spawn in and then push through the doorway. So again, have somebody here to lock that down. The flashbang grenades was extremely helpful. Now, the beautiful thing about breaking these locks is that you'll be able to top off your heavy ammo before the boss room. The other beautiful thing, guys, is when you interact with that prompt up there to start the boss encounter, this will top off your super, which means supers like Tether, Well of Radiance. If you want to go ahead and pre-pop them before interacting with that console, you can. And the moment you interact with it, it will top off your supers. Now, this room is chaotic, no lie, but it does have a safe spot, or somewhat of a safe spot, and that is at the right underneath these stairs. Guys, you want to get under here. Whoever it is that's popping the well, pop your well somewhere behind cover, the sword itself, because yes, it can get shot out even here. Now, the moment you interact with the prompt, you can start doing damage to the boss, which is this giant shrieker that has a number of crazy attacks, and I mean crazy attacks that will pretty much one-hit KO you, which is why being underneath these stairs is so helpful. Try to gun this boss down as quickly as you can. Get it to half health, because the moment you get it to half health, it will close back up, and then you have to actually start depositing these balls after killing these fallen captains throughout the room. Now, ads pretty much spawn in non-stop. You'll have some captains here and there. Don't just rush out there to kill the captains. You got snipers posted up top. You've got wizards that are constantly spawning in. You have a barrier champion that's going to be floating around. Take your time, guys. Deal with them. If you're popping Arc Soul rifts, everyone needs to be dipping in that rift and getting that Arc Soul. Now, something that was extremely helpful to us is that we would get the kill on the captain, but we would send our Invis Hunter to pick up the balls to then go deposit. And they can do this while invisible, which makes this a lot safer, at least for the person that's depositing it. Now, upon putting 5 balls in this interface, the balls will open back up and you can start doing damage again. This time though, guys, you do not want to gun the balls down too quickly. Yes, we were using linears. We could have shredded it very fast. The problem is that a barrier champion does spawn in. You need to deal with that barrier for the sake of platinum. And again, we'll test this theory out to see if you can skip this barrier, but in other nightfalls, that is normally not the case. Deal with that barrier champion though, guys. Try to stay alive throughout all of this. I know it's chaotic, and then proceed to melt the boss. I wish I had a cheesy strat for this. I really do. But in this nightfall, especially in this boss room, unless something gets discovered at some point today or this week, for now, you're just gonna have to nut up under these stairs, man. So good luck, guys. Again, we have a number of artifact mods that are also very beneficial in this nightfall. Monochromatic Automatic Maestro. You've got Sundering Glare 2.0. Take advantage of these mods, guys. I was utilizing these mods on my Warlock, and they were extremely beneficial. Now, for my folks that are running Grandmasters or wanting to run Grandmasters, we are doing redeem runs, which means if you have eggplants on our Twitch stream, which is our in-stream currency that you get simply for watching the stream, come on by, guys. You can redeem your runs, and we'll get some Grandmaster Nightfall runs in together. Well, fellas and ladies, thank you all for coming and watching, and as always,
Slap that like button like your mama told you right.